You know, the founding fathers, in their own words, their idea of America wasn't just freedom from Britain. It was a deliberate creation of a nation where liberty, moral government, and human rights, and human freedom, and human equality were sacred, and duties that were entrusted to free citizens. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Here at Papa Todd, I really started this channel because my kids kind of inspired me to do it, and it would be a great place to put down all the knowledge that I've got in my head. And that knowledge has come from a lifetime of preparing, a lifetime of being ready, from wilderness survival courses to man tracking courses to being in scouts and religion. My whole life ultimately preparing me for what it is to always be ready. That was kind of the genesis of this channel. And as I have been praying on the things to add and what to prepare, and I just felt very uneasy for a certain period of time, and I've been trying to figure it out. Here we live in this information age, and there's so much information out there available for people. Part of me felt like, well, is it because they can probably find it somewhere else and they don't need to be finding me, so to speak? Or am I truly doing this for my kids, my grandkids, right? And the part of me that said, yeah, I can teach my kids and grandkids directly if I wanted to. So is this really for them or for it to be out there in the real world, so to speak? And I was really concerned about all my skills and knowledge being passed down to just anybody. And that sounds bad in some ways, but you know, let's face it, there's good and evil in the world out there, right? And I choose to share my knowledge and skills for good. And I'm not so sure that, you know, my channel's not big. It's not huge. There's not a ton of people that follow me right now. So it's really not about, you know, of the 25 followers that I have today, if there's going to be a problem with my knowledge getting out there. That's not what this is about. Again, we're talking about Veterans Day, and a day that we should be showing appreciation. And yet I kind of feel some shame, unfortunately, because I, along with everybody else, know that we should never forget. Never forget those people who gave their lives, literally. All the dedication for so many people, so many family members that I know that gave their life to service, to ensure that we kept our freedom. And you don't have to look very far to see how different America is today, even if you compared 1993 to 2001, let's say. We have been fundamentally transformed, as promised. It's not an accident. Most people know this. And shamefully, people will continue to do nothing. They'll do nothing to stop it. In fact, people will continue to support the theft of dollars right out of your pocket, your hard-earned money, for programs that were in fact totally opposed in 1993 to 2001. People change, they say. I think people are changed. And that's why we are where we are. That's why information, skill, knowledge should be reserved for the restoration. Why restoration? I'm not so sure we can turn this around. I'm not so sure we don't have to go through some very uncomfortable times. I do urge you to get involved. You know, if you believe in the idea of America and why it was formed, get involved. Do what you can. I'm not saying that, you know, it's over for me, but it's definitely changed enough for me that I'm not so sure I freely want to give enemies of America my knowledge and skill, the things that I need to pass down to my family. So if you believe, like most Americans, well, let's just say George Washington. Let me read a good quote, one of my favorite quotes from George Washington. "The preservation of the sacred fire of liberty and the destiny of the Republican model of government are justly considered as deeply, perhaps as finally, staked on the experiment entrusted to the hands of the American people." He made that statement at his first inaugural address in 1789. And I can just hear, you know, others talking about how old men, old ways. These were profound words. Our founders were profound individuals. And their experiment that we talk about has been going on for a very long time in comparison to other governments, with a very broad and diverse group of people. I fear that we must now endure the consequences of our actions. Does that mean collapse? Maybe. Some sort of recovery, some sort of restoration? I really don't know. But as I put together these videos, I'm reminded of the value that I have in this knowledge and what I've done to prepare. And I believe there are plenty of people who want to scuttle our country, make it implode from within. And I, again, urge you to get involved in some way or another, even if that just means those near you in your neighborhood, networking a little bit and finding out who might be on your side, so to speak, who might be part of the team. Because the fear that's involved in some of the videos, I try to avoid. I really do. I don't want my own kids or grandkids feeling that fear, but I'm afraid it's going to have to be something we absolutely must go through. I'm afraid you're going to wake up one day and your biggest fear is that your cell phones become a paperweight. And that's not a fear that you should really care about. That just shows you how shallow our thinking is. Instead, we're talking very fragile supply lines, just a fragile existence altogether. We've been lulled and comforted into this position, and ultimately, no one wants to think about the hard things that might happen. I mean, the day to think about it is not the third day of no power. It's now. You have time to get ready now. But I'm not so sure anybody is ready to do anything about it. And that's bothersome. It kind of makes me feel like the pain's going to be a lot deeper, a lot more widespread. And that just may be what has to happen. I don't know. So, it's a situation where you feel like you are eating the seeds of next year's garden right now. So will there be anything left to plant enough to keep your children alive is my thought process. I don't know the answer to that, but it's bothering me a lot. I pray about it a lot, and I hope that not only my family, friends, but others can find a consensus. And ultimately, it's not about making a stand so much as just, and maybe it is, I don't know, but you got to stand up. You got to know your history. You got to believe that this country is unique. And if you came here because it wasn't, what'd you come here for? Did you come here to fly your own flag about how great it was? No. You came here because it was better, and it's made better by good people. But we don't have that anymore. We have a complete reversal of 1993 to 2001. I picked that time frame for a reason, because words were being said by people then that are now they're saying the exact opposite. That should be your sign. That should be your guide. That should let you know that it's not the same country anymore. I'd love to get it back. Make some comments down below. I'd love to see your comments, because ultimately where this channel goes, I honestly don't know. I really don't know. I hope I feel motivated to continue to do this. I have a lot that I'd love to be able to share. I just guess I need to think through it a little bit more and really figure out what this channel is going to be for. I'd love to find more people near me that feel the way I do, believe the way I do, and want to work at getting better or prepare. Because I think we're gonna face the music here real soon, and it's gonna be hard for a lot of people. It might be very dangerous. And if you're not thinking about how to get prepared for that, just forget it. 95% of the people who do nothing about this are going to face dire consequences. It's just the way it happens. And it's happened this way. We have history to look at. Lots of different places we can look at this. The civil breakdown it's not a fun topic to talk about. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to raise fear in people. Are we there? We're really close, unfortunately. And, each of you have your own circumstances. You live in a city somewhere, you live in the country somewhere, you live all different places, and you have different circumstances that you're going to face, and lots of decisions that require a good, solid mind. And unfortunately, fear, having no plan, no design, not paying attention, burying your head in the sand, all those things are going to be working against you. You have to put a plan together. It's got to be a good plan, one that makes sense, not because you think it's a good plan, but because somebody who's been through enough of it can tell you why it's good or why it's bad. And you have to work on that plan. It's like bugging out. People think that's the first thing you got to do. And that is not always the smart thing to do. There's a ton of variables that will determine whether or not you live or die from that decision. And you don't get to control some of those variables. So you have to make the decision. Am I in the right place right now in case what we think could happen happens? Or do I need to get somewhere else? And it's a hard time to get somewhere else. People aren't able to buy homes right now. That's all there is to it. Hopefully that'll change. But it's tough. It's tough to be in a position where you feel like you've got the ability to make the best decision for your family. You've made those decisions. You can now start preparing. Stack the deck into your favor instead of always having the deck stacked against you. These are tough thoughts to even have, much less steps of action to take. It's hard to convince a spouse or family members that you are making a life-changing decision based on other people's actions. But it really comes down to you choosing to take your life into your own hands and not leave it up to somebody else. So putting yourself in a position to be able to survive others, it's not an easy process. There are ways of getting things done. So again, leave some comments down below. Love to hear your take on this, and I hope to see you back at the channel soon. Take care.